Hello, hello, hello. Hey everyone. Thank you for joining for another live session. So, for those who are signing in for the first time, we are MyGigsters. We are a dedicated community for gig workers, freelancers, rideshare drivers, delivery drivers, everybody who's into the self-employed world working out of a digital platform. What do we do? We are here to make them more financially secure in their gig work. Um, we have an amazing community with a lot of amazing people, experts who help each other to build a financially secure lifestyle. On top of that, we build an application for gig workers to track their income, their expenses, their mileage, their insights, helping them with tax reductions, and helping them understand how to maximize their earnings. So, welcome. If you are here for the first time, thank you for sharing your time. Quick intro around the room. When I say, they will say hi. So I've got Surinder, who is leading the marketing. I've got Imran, who's leading the product growth. I've got Swami, who's the leading the tech as a CTO, and I've got Vinti, who's recently joined our team as a UX designer. All right. Um, so Imran is going to handle the chat. So if you're going to jump on the chat, you wanted to participate, feel free. We are live on Facebook page, Facebook group, and on YouTube. So it takes a few seconds for the stream to come there, but we will be heading there soon. So what are we going to talk about, team?
I'm going to propose something. We're showing some analytics to our users, our freelancers, and our rideshare and delivery drivers as users. We're showing them some charts related to their business. Now, one of the things that we while we spoke to a lot of our rideshare delivery friends, and from our own days in the back, one of the things that we realized is we don't treat this like a business all the time. We kind of, think, okay, how much did you earn? I earned $800. Well, mate, you didn't, because after the 800, you had to pay for your petrol and whatnot, and insurance and the car payments. Um, Surprisingly, that is still the case. Like a few years before when we did drive share, it was the case then. It's still the case now. We kind of on a mission to change that perspective as well a little bit. We are showing what is called FinSights, and we're showing some numbers there, but we want to maybe take a validation from our users. Who better to ask, right? Guys, if you are, we could show you some wireframes. If you use MyGigsters app, awesome. Let us know what is the most important metric, business metric, or what is the most important number that you want to see about your freelancing business, whether it is rideshare, delivery, website development, TikTok video. I think all of them are businesses, and you would probably want to see some numbers about it. What keeps you awake at night? That's the question that Dave have for them. And we could
I
actually
think
be going
one
around the room as well. Imran, you go.
of
Okay. Yeah.
uh, sorry, Swami. So one of the things that I am more curious to know and sort of talk through into is what exactly is um, an expense, right? So, for example, when I drive my car and when I try to drive it for Uber and when I drive it for, it's very hard for me to tell differentiate that, how much is fuel, what exactly is a business expense, and automatically my mind doesn't really go into a business expense. It's more like I don't really think about it. But how do you think MyGigsters can help with that aspect of things? Like, what is a business expense?
It's a good question, Imran. MyGigsters helps in a few different ways, right? One, MyGigsters straight off the bat allows you to link your bank statement to the MyGigsters app. Now, if anybody is freaking out, what do you mean bank account? Well, we're just, reading the statement after, getting that consent. And MyGigsters is using Ilian's bank sync solution or bank feed solution. It's a bank grade security, high encrypted solution. Um, and we, being a very ethical business that we are, we don't sell the information or we don't give access to information. In fact, I think the people around this room and the technical guys as well can't get their hands on the data, right? What we, but that's on the security aspect of the bank statement itself. But allowing users to link that means we can look at the business expenses of users. Um, and we also give an option in the application for users to tag their business expenses and personal expenses. Sometimes, you could, to your point, Imran, be going on a road trip and then you came back to do rideshare, which means the full tank of petrol there, 50% or 60% of it got used in your nice Great Ocean Road drive, and then the rest of it for your business. You're able to tag that as well. That's kind of a couple of ways I can straight off the bat think how MyGigsters can help. So if anyone wants to add more into this.
I can just share from my past experience of being in rideshare in a tasking and stuff. I think it's a very important thing in a day-to-day basis. When you go out and earn money on a platform, the platform gives you, some jobs you quote, and you, let's say you quote $50 for an IKEA furniture setup and you get that money. But then in reality it's not $50. It's $50 minus first the service fee of the platform, which is most likely 20% and above, or and the tools that you spent, the time, the vehicle that you used, all of that resources that I've used is expenses, and what's truly out is probably definitely less than $50, could be even $40 or $30. Um, Not knowing that is a problem. Why? Because in your mind you're thinking only you got 50, but actually you're not got 50. And if you're planning all your life with $50 in your mind, you are it is going to hurt you some point in the future, where you go like, where is the money actually going? um, Another thing is also not thinking about, if you're a GST registered business, or yeah, GST gets a little bit simple actually. In GST, you get GST from someone and you give GST back to the government, right? So it's a way to track GST, should be there. But income tax filing, that's a big thing, because if you know that you're going to go above the threshold, and if you're not prepared to know that you have to pay income tax at the end of the year, and that is not factored into your daily insights, what happens is you come at the end of the year and then you get surprised that you need to actually pay back to the government. And usually this is in a couple of $1,000s, right, which is a big money for to pay at one go. We know that some of our community members do it on a quarterly basis or save a bit of money aside to pay the taxes. But i I really would like, if I would going back, I would have wished that there was this number saying this is what I owe to pay as my income tax. And it helps me to think, okay, this is what I'm moving to the government based on my income. um, and it also tells me, okay, these are the expenses that I can deduct from my tax deductible expenses. So I see that, I see this. It helps me to say, okay, I have to pay $3,000 worth of tax, but I can claim $2,500 because I've got tax deductible expenses. So the remaining is 500. Um, so yeah, that's from my side. I think that would really help.
Yeah,
So cool.
definitely second you there. I think when I used to work, I think I used to work for multiple platforms, which was not at the same time. Like I used to work for Uber Eats and Foodora and stuff, and the commission which they used to charge was different. Like what Foodora charges different or Uber charges different. But then I only took into account what money came to me, like at the end of the day. Um, and funnily, I did not even think for the 2 years I did that that's not the money I earned. Yeah, it was basically like when someone had to point out to me that that's not how much you made for me to realize that. So I guess like
Swami, on that, sorry, Surinder. So I'm curious to know. Currently on the app, how does it work? Like what metrics are shown for in the FinSights? What can the user see? What can a driver see?
Yeah, that's a good point, Imran. I can share my screen and show what we are showing as metrics. That will
Yeah.
also trigger people to think about is this relevant for me, like it or not like it, right? Okay, let me share my screen. But I do want to capture this point that both these guys made. One about show me the approximate amount of taxes that I would be paying, so I can save that. And I think Surinder, I think you're probably making a point about the money minus commission of the platform, right? It's a little difficult to know, but I think we can think of a way. Alrighty, what are we showing currently, folks?
So do you want to like slightly zoom in? Just maybe it's just for me, but yeah.
I think even last time that was a feedback that the screens are quite small. When I look at it, it's quite small for me as well to read much of the stuff. Benji, is it possible? Like, I mean, is it a video thing? Last time, do you remember how much you did?
There was a chat overlay last time that I closed it, so and it looked okay after that point. Um,
Okay.
Hmm.
you may wanted to close the side pages thing and maybe just
And zoom
focus.
in a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe. So,
Yeah, I think
I think the challenge is for people who are actually watching or would be watching this out of a mobile phone
mobile phones.
is like they can't see it. Anyway, they can hear us, and that might work.
Cool. Let's just look at one chart at a time, right? Tell
yeah,
me to. Okay, hope this does well, look okay, folks. And if not, just chime in, put your comments, or join us for a chat. Um, so the weekly overview is the first thing that we have here. This basically gives you a daily earnings in dollars. How the hell do we get this? I mean, you can do it in two different ways. You could either add it manually. That's probably a little bit work intensive. You could also add your bank account in which you're getting your salary or income from the gig platforms that will allow us to automatically read it and then show the daily income. Once you add your bank statement, it syncs every day and it then gives you all these good charts. And you know what the best part is? That it's free. So the earnings on a daily basis. Similarly, you could actually click on mileage. I'm not going to do that here. It's just a wireframe, but I think you kind of get the idea, right? Instead of dollars, you're going to say kilometers. The kilometers that you've driven every day. Expenses, again, dollars on a daily basis. That's one chart that we show.
Good
I'm just going
question,
to
Sari.
go for it.
So that means for someone who's not comfortable linking their bank account to the app, they can still make use of all the features that we're giving, even if they decide not to do that. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct, Wendy. That's a good question. Why don't I take a minute and then show that screen? It's going to be a little bit of moving around here and there, but I might be able to show it still. There you go. We've got the screen here, right? So you could either link your bank account or you could just select your service, Uber, Ola, Didi, whatever the case may be, amount and number of trips, and add. That's it. There's just the wireframes here showing you how to add service and stuff, but I'm sure you guys are superstars. You would know what to do there. That's how you would do it manually.
So Swami, like what Benji said, right? Like, let's say, for example, I am spending so much on a day. I can see from this chart what is my earnings, what is my expense. Can I also see how much is my tax that will go to the government in real time per day based on my
We
expense?
don't have that as a feature. It's a good thing to think about and add something to the application.
Hmm. So
Um,
And
that
it's
there is
same,
no end of the year surprises, as Benji said, or something.
Absolutely.
and the same applies if they are GST registered also. Uh, Technically, the income from platforms, the expenses of the GST still so GST is all, it's already there in our detailed report. Like when you generate the tax report, you get a email with a detailed log of all your income, expenses, um, and then uh, you'll be able to see GST summary on that things.
Yeah. We do have a report there, right, in our lab. So you could actually do this at the moment. You could click on generate tax report and then it'll tell you what your mileages are, what you're looking at in terms of your, overall income and taxes and so on. This is ATO compliant, not necessarily doesn't go file your taxes. You still need your accountant for that. But it gives a very good starting point instead of your accountant asking you all that back and forth that happens, right? Like, can you send me this account statement, that account statements? You don't need to do all that if you had synced your bank statement and
Yeah,
added your
and for
mileage recently.
and Swami, on for the folks who not, it's quite easy to actually file your taxes yourself in the ATO, and for those who are doing it currently, looking at an Excel spreadsheet, this is a really good way to just put it at the ATO online portal, and then it works. Um,
The next one that we have here is earnings by category. We just, I think it's kind of self-explanatory here, right, folks? We're just giving you the for the week, and you can select it as month or year or whatnot. And yeah, um, the amount of money earned through each platform kind of speaks to what Surinder said a little bit, in that it gives you at least the earnings by platform, not necessarily what you actually earn minus commissions. Uh, in a way, well, I'm sorry, the other way around, right? Um, what you earn after commissions is what you see here, because that's what you got paid in your account. And if you, maybe look at the mileage per platform, you're able to see, well, I drove 1,000 kilometers in Uber and then it gave me blah dollars, and I drove 1,000 kilometers in Didi, it's given me Y dollars. What's the difference, right? That kind of tells you how you're going with each of these platforms.
there's another thing that I don't know whether this is possible, given that we may not have that data point, but what I would see, the common denominator for our users and as gig workers is time, right? If you have more time, you do more deliveries or more ride share. If you have more time, you do more tasks. If you have more time, you do so. Time is the resource that they transact, um, to, and time is the value that they would want. Um, So I'm thinking, is there a way that you could tell users about what would their hourly earning look like? So that I'm thinking, why? Because it allows them to choose better options, better decisions. If your earning is less than $15 an hour, you know that you're less than the national minimum wage, which means you got to work at least 25% more harder to get to that minimum wage. um, is there a way to tell that? But the reason why I'm saying it could be difficult is we don't know how many hours our users have been worked in different platforms, and we don't have that data point. So is there another way to tell that?
That's a good question, Benji. We could be looking at the mileage. I mean, if somebody were to do it manually, they could definitely add the trips and the service here, right? That's pretty simple. Um, But that is something that we can think about. It's a good idea. We don't have a solution as it here, right?
I know. Yeah, but I think it's a question for also the viewers and listeners. If when you're watching this video and you do you think you wanted to know your hourly income, would that help you to navigate the decisions of which platform to work or what project to bid, how long to work? If it is, we probably have to put a comment on this video and let us know why and how you wanted to see that value, and we'll figure out a way to get that to you.
Mm. But I think what we can look at adding AI, will probably be guided by our customers giving comments and stuff, right? Is We could give a blended number, which is their overall income by the number of hours that they have worked. In the application, there is a way for people to log their mileage. So I start my day at 7 a.m. in the morning and end my day at, I don't know, 4 p.m. in the evening, let's say. And I earn $1,000, then that's, it's kind of easy to calculate your dollar per hour income. We can do that. But would be keen to know if it's going to be useful. Across the room, what do you guys think? You guys have been looking at this?
200%. I would totally love that feature if it had been there when I was doing it. Uh, Mainly because I told you that I never calculated. I didn't know. I didn't know whether I was actually breaking even or not. Especially when I invested for a bike before I started my delivery journey, and that bike was pretty expensive. But then I invested thinking that I'll be able to make that money back. Um, Maybe if this was there, how much I was actually making profit per hour, then I would have known how much I had to work for me to actually break even. Yeah, because I don't think so. Like I even, I barely even, I don't think so I broke even also. I'm pretty sure I made a huge loss. But I was fooling myself into thinking I was working very hard, and making, like, I was making like what, $100 a day, which I thought was pretty good. But I didn't count so many expenses. I didn't count maintenance, I didn't count fuel, I didn't count insurance, I didn't count things like that. So probably if that per hour thing, like, hey, some, like, maybe this app pops up saying, hey Suren, this is how much you made today, but this is how much you actually made today. That would
Hmm.
definitely make a difference.
What do you guys think? If it is that important, should we just a couple of options, couple of places in the app where you can stick it in, right? Let's see what you guys think. We've got in the home page. This is the home page of the app, by the way. For those people who haven't used MyGigsters before, I'm strongly encourage you should. The weekly expenses are here. What's important, the income per hour or expenses per week, or do you want to have both?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I would like, I'm not too keen about my weekly mileage. So for me personally, I would like my expenses and my net profit.
Hmm.
So I know,
Mind you,
like,
we are. Hmm.
yeah, no,
So
that's
go
net
ahead.
income, right? I'm talking about net profit, like what we just spoke about. Net profit is basically all my expenses per hour earning, basically.
The hourly earning, yeah, absolutely. We can try and stick it in. That's a good point. That you're saying mileage probably not a big deal for me to track on a weekly basis. Uh, Income per hour may be important than that. It's good feedback.
um,
Uh,
I'm gonna throw in a little bit of it's probably not maybe users need to comment on this and get us help me out. um this I would like to see what's the difference between this week and the last week. Like, how they show in your portfolio, kind of like you have a 0.2%
Hmm.
growth, 0.1% decline. a very small at the corner, kind of indicating, okay, you're doing better than last week. It may be just $10 or $5 more, but um, it gives me a good feeling when it's obviously pointing up. It also gives me a bad feeling if it's pointing down. And what it tells me is, if it's pointing down, then it helps me to think why it went down. Maybe I worked less. Maybe there was some down season. Maybe things like that. And that's where I think community will help others, right? People will share how to make money when the days are dry, or when there's no enough jobs, or how to. Um, so anyway, it's very smart, minute addition, uh, without overpopulating that screen, but that card. But I felt it will be a good complement to it.
Nice.
Totally. So,
Just to recap for anyone who's joined us now, we are currently having a design session about the MyGigsters app. So we are discussing about what kind of financial insights do gig workers, such as yourself and myself, would like to see on the app. Like, what is your earning minus your tax on a daily basis, or what Benjamin just said about knowing how much you actually earned minus all your expenses today versus what you did last week on this day. So such data points, is that would that be helpful for you? So please comment whenever you see this video. Swami here.
Ananda, is there a chance anyone can join us in the chat in the room if they wanted to?
Yes,
If anyone wants
definitely.
to join in the chat, let me know. I'll drop in the link that you can join, and maybe
I
I'll.
totally agree with Benji's suggestion, because that will add a motivation element to our offering, to our app, where people will be able to compare their last month from this month, or last week from this week, or yesterday from today. There are various ways we can allow this kind of a comparison of performance, of earning, of expenses, which will serve as a motivation to come back to the app to be able to see that. And nowadays there's a growing trend towards habit tracking, towards expense tracking, towards earning tracking, and this will be in alignment with that trend.
Super duper agree. Tan.
I we have 12 minutes left. Can I add one more also? um, this came with one of the chats that I had with Scott. I'm going to pull Scott into this. When I had a chat with Scott last week on Ask Me Anything session. By the way, for those who don't know what is Ask Me Anything session, um, every fortnight I spend an hour available for anyone to have a chat about anything, and I have a private room on my Facebook group, and we can chat about all things about gig, car, everything about finance. So anyway, uh, watch out for the event. You will see that in the community forum, and you can join the next session. So when I was chatting with Scott last time, he's obviously smart. Like, he knew how to he knew which income and expenses were tax deductible. That reminded me of a conversation from another user of ours who didn't know which was tax deductible. Like, they didn't know that this could be tax deductible. Um, Now we know that we users can categorize their expenses. Now it's for the user to categorize the expenses. Is there a way we can tell the users, for the ones that potentially could be tax deductible but they have not categorized it?
Super duper good question. Yes. One other, I would say, strong um, reason why we built the feature to link bank accounts is to precisely do that, right? You know, when you onboard into the app, you basically tell us who you are, right? As in, are you a rideshare driver? Are you a delivery driver? Are you website designer? Whoever you are. Um, we've got the machine learning algorithm on the back end that works, that looks at merchant names. If it's AppCo, it's fuel, and if you're a rideshare driver, then it's potentially. tax deductible. We're starting to flag those things,
Hmm.
and we're going to also, I think come tax time, your accountant will just ask you for a number, and you give them a number. Well, want you to be successful, and we want you to get more tax dollars in your pocket. So we're going to be reminding you that there are these expense types that are potentially business expenses that you haven't tagged yet. So tag them and gain more tax deduction.
Yep. Um, Swami, when you shared the uh, dashboard screen, there was one chart that is currently not there in the application, which is how are you performing amongst other users in the community.
Efficiency.
Um, so is this something that we would still pursue? And I think before you answer, I'm going to also post this question to the community. Do you really wanted to know how you are performing among other gig workers in the same community or in the same platform? Let's say, Surender is working for Deliveroo. Would Surender wants to know, is he earning more or less than other delivery drivers or for in Deliveroo platform? um I don't know. Hey, if you have if you want that, if you think it's something that would be valuable, put it in the comment section and maybe tell me how it's valuable, and that'll help me to understand it. But what do you think, Swami? Do you think we'll pursue that for now?
I think one of the reasons why we wanted to put that in the application, and this is just to advocate and trigger some discussions from our customers, from our users. The reason why we thought we'll pursue it is if you are driving on Fridays and Saturdays only because there's a hypothesis that it's very busy those days. And we could actually be looking at, okay, Suren drives Uber on a Friday and he earns $1,000. I'm just making this up. I really want you to earn more, Surinder. And then maybe Imran drives on Friday as well, and he earns only 600. Right? Like let's just go with those numbers. If Imran logs into the app and says, "Okay, Imran, you've got 600," and the other users of MyGigsters, we're obviously not going to disclose anyone's personal income or whatever, but just as a summary statistic, um, put together the other drivers on the platform who drove on this day on Fridays on the average on $800, then that is a call to action for him. And maybe he's probably not driving at the right times or the right platforms or maybe the right area. I don't know. So that kind of helps him introspect and earn more money. I think this overall theme, right? What gets measured gets managed. Um, this you might know from any of your other aspects of life, right? If you start managing your weight, then you start measuring your weight, then it starts going down suddenly. If you start measuring your expense, suddenly you save more. So I think that's kind of where we're going with this one as well. We should be pursuing it, but Benji, you're right. We want to know from our users if it will be useful for them, and if something that we can definitely offer.
Cool. All right, we're towards the end of the session. I'm assuming Swami is going to give us a good summary of what the action items is, or what are we taking from the session?
Why don't we make this a group thing? I'm going to list what I have and go across the room, guys. You add what you have noted down. And this video ends probably in the next few minutes, but the chat doesn't have to. I think really strong call out to the community. Just add things that will help your business because this is really a community-led application. We are here for you. We want to make this app work better for you. Three things that I've noted down: tracking the week-on-week, month-on-month increase in your income. So earned $1,000 this week, 10% more, sort of a thing. Earnings per hour is the second thing that we noted down. And the third thing that we spoke about is a potential taxable income. Based on my income so far in this financial year, what is going to be the tax, and just so that I can save that money and not have tax shock later. What else do you have?
Um, while you're showing the potential tax that I need to pay, are you also going to show me potential tax deduction that I can actually also do. Like, so
Mm.
let's say, yeah. So my $1,000 is what I owe to the government at the end of the year based on my income. $800 is my expenses that I've categorized that can be potentially tax deductible. So I'm looking at $200 difference. Maybe I've got expenses more than $1,000. It's $1,200, which means I might be returning and getting back $200 from it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Flagging potential tax deductible items um,
I
that they
think
can flag.
yeah, it's already there. The weekly expenses that they are actually categorizing is tax deductible. Um, if they, I don't know, somewhere they should know this. This goes to that. Um, I think one of us can, maybe Imran. Could you would like to summarize this like a chat in the chat and maybe put it in the chat in the comment section, or we can put a
Already done.
separate post,
It's
or I
done.
could.
Yeah, Imran.
Um,
Yeah.
before I close the session, any caller from anybody, anything to add?
I think it was pretty good. The takeaway points. I think that'll definitely help. Thinking of when I did it, I think the points we spoke about today will definitely help.
Awesome. Hey,
Short and sharp.
thank you so much. I think it's good that we're having these sessions, and like Swami mentioned, I think I wanted to highlight that again. While the live session is over, the conversation has not got over. Anybody who is watching this at any point in time after this live session, you're always welcome to comment, connect with us, share your view. It's almost like you go into this five-star restaurant, right? And this place makes the meal for you, for your taste. um and the chef comes from the kitchen to your table and asks, how do you like to have your dinner? Like, how do you like to have your steak? Medium rare? And it's customized to you, and that's exactly what we are trying to do. The chef is here, the entire team is here. We wanted to make something that will you will love, that will suit your needs, that will suit your palate. But you got to tell me what you want. If you don't tell me, I'm going to cook the standard meal, which may not be super for everybody else. I need your help, community members. So join us for the next live session. We run this twice a month. If you want to know, it is every fortnight. So next fortnight we'll be here talking about something else, and the next fortnight and so on. And all these events are already in our Facebook group that's called Community for Self-Employed Freelancers and Gig Workers. And most importantly, if you haven't tried this app before, you're missing out much, because there's no such application that gives all of this for free. So go download it. It's free on your iOS and Play Store. Download it, use it, and come and connect with us. Join the community, and we love to see you there. All right, team. Enjoy. Take care. Let me end the stream.